Hi class, welcome to session 6, unit 6, employee retirement. At the end of this session, you should be able to explain two forms of retirement. You should be able to discuss the stages in retirement life. You should be able to review or plan your own retirement scheme. What is the meaning and what are the forms of retirement? Retirement is a formal withdrawal from active work on grounds of mandatory age. So here you are going to retire from active work. So you withdraw or you nullify your contract with an employer on active grounds of your mandatory age. So by the age you've attained in the organization or as a person. So as a person, how old you are demands that you retire from work, demands that you withdraw from your job responsibilities at work. Retirement marks the end of active working life, though the worker may have residual capacity. So irrespective of how productive you are, how fruitful you are, retirement is compulsory and it marks your active working life. But you could be productive, however, based on how old you are, you have to retire from mandatory working life. Then we have the National Pension Act 2008, Act 766 of Ghana covers the issues of retirement. So if you want to know anything about retirement, just refer to this act and you shall be given the information. Forms and meaning of retirement. So the forms of retirement include compulsory retirement, voluntary retirement, forced or retirement on health grounds. So the compulsory retirement here, we are talking about retirement that takes effect at 60 years. So everybody knows that at age 60, you have to retire from work. Reappointment is possible, however, based on your expertise, the difficulty of replacing you, and your health. So when we look at your capacity, we think, no, this one is still strong. He can work for us. They would reappoint you. We think that your skills and your expertise are so unique that as you are able to still work, you have the capacity to still work, the health to still work. Why don't we just reappoint you on a contract basis? Or there's difficulty in replacing you. We can't find anybody suitable to fill your position. During all the management and the succession planning, we didn't find anybody suitable to take up your role. So we will re-engage you in the organization. Voluntary retirement. Here, a person or a worker can retire voluntarily at 55 years. So at the age of 55, if you personally, you think you have the right, you have money, you want to retire, you don't want to work again, you are tired, you can retire. We have forced or retirement on health grounds. So an employee may be forced to retire because of sickness, an accident, or any physical or mental reason that would incapacitate him to contribute to organizational performance. You need to prepare for retirement. You don't just sit there and wait for 55 to voluntarily retire or 60 to mandatorily retire. So you need to prepare for retirement. You have to look at your housing or accommodation. So here we are going to talk about the points that you need to put in place before you can retire. You need to make sure that you provided a housing for you and your family, a place where when you go on retirement, you can go and live in till God calls you. You have to look at health facility consideration. As you are going on retirement, maybe the organizational benefits of healthcare, health insurance will be cut. So here you have to make sure that you have enough money, you have insurance benefits that will take care of your health as you age in life. So you have to make sure that you've contributed towards your health facilities. You have to make sure you can also consider residual work opportunity because you still have the capacity, the expertise. You can decide to go and work if you are from you're working with a public firm. You can now decide to either go solo as an entrepreneur, start something that you've been wanting to do, or you can go to a different institution like a private institution and contribute to organizational achievement. Family ties. Before you go on retirement, you should make sure that you have family that will be with you, family that you can communicate with. If you have some family members that you are not talking to for one or two reasons, try as much as possible to amend the relationship and still have some family around you. Family is very important, even so before you retire. So it's important to keep good family ties with family members. Religious consideration. Sometimes you would now want to work on your religious spirituality and religion. So mostly Some people will now dwell into church, Islams will go to mosques, traditionalists will also decide to work on their spirituality, because as you are growing, the Bible says every person is given 70 years, if I'm right. So as you are growing, you have to work towards the common goal. Everybody wants salvation. So now you have to work towards your salvation. So that's what we call religious consideration. Consider your religion and your how you can get closer to your deity. Let's look at pension and retirement benefits. The benefits a pensioner enjoys during retirement is dependent on his or her contribution towards a scheme. Mostly, some organizations have pension policy schemes that they contribute to, or schemes that they've devised as a benefits package for employees to attract the right people that they want. So based on an employee's contribution to this scheme, he or she is entitled to some benefits in the event of retirement, either mandatory or voluntarily. So according to the National Pension Act 2008, Act 766, a pension scheme is an employee benefit scheme which provides retirement benefits as establishment of a trust fund or the purchase of insurance or annuity contracts or a combination of both, and benefits may be paid either as an annuity or lump sum. So what we are trying to say is, in the benefit scheme, it provides retirement benefits by establishing of a trust fund. So there's a trust fund that is supposed to give you benefits in the quest of pension. So it's either through a purchase or a trust fund or annuity contracts or a combination of both. So either a trust fund, insurance, or annuity contracts. And the benefits will be paid to you either as an annuity or a lump sum. So if it's an annuity, that means it's being paid in intervals. If it's a lump sum, they give you all your principal and the accrued interest to you as a once payment. So they pay you one, and that is it, the lump sum. That time, those ones, the money is very huge. You see the money and you feel so big, feel so confident, so comfortable. And the annuity is paid either annually or at intervals, monthly, whatever your contract stated. So annuity is a series of payments which may be subject to increases at stated intervals until a particular event occurs. So the event that could occur is when maybe you die or at the end of a specified period, then the annuity ceases. So till you die, you'll be paid at particular intervals, and it is subject to what? Increments. Now let's look at some of the schemes that pensioners on retirement benefit from. One, we have the Provident Fund Scheme. Provident means seeing beforehand and preparing for the future. So now you know you are going to go on retirement, whatever be the case, 55, 60 years. So you decide on some of the things you need upon retirement. So you identify your needs. So based on those needs, you prepare towards it using the Provident Fund Scheme. It's a scheme that is governed by a trust to which a contributor or the contributor's employer or both. So here you both can contribute to the scheme, or you as a contributor or your employer would be the contributor based on some conditions which provides benefits to a defined based on a defined contribution formula as defined by the National Pension Act 2008, Act 77. So to provide for the payment of lump sum, so the scheme would rather pay you a lump sum, or to provide for payment to beneficiaries upon death of the scheme holder before retirement or at a prescribed event. So if you die before retirement, you can be paid to your beneficiary or your next of kin, or based on a prescribed event. So maybe you say upon ailment, upon when you can't see, upon when you are too weak to walk. So based on a prescribed condition as stated in the terms on the contracts of the pension scheme, based on that, your beneficiaries can be paid to your beneficiary or to your next of kin. The next one is the SSNIT pension scheme. SSNIT means Social Security and National Insurance Trust. So the pension scheme provides post-retirement benefits to pensioners as defined by the National Pension Act 2008, Act 766. The Act introduces a three-tier pension scheme upon which employers and employees make contribution into. So the functions of the trust include operating the basic national security pension scheme and other schemes as may be prescribed by law. So the National Security Pension Scheme is regulated by the SSNIT Pension Scheme. They have a fund into which contributions and other monies may be paid into as required by the Act. So payments made by contributors, either by an employee or employer, is made into a fund. It is responsible for the general administration and the regulations made under it, administration of the scheme and the regulations made under it. So here, general administration of the scheme and any other regulations that is needed is provided for by the scheme pension and the Act. It also ensures that the provision of protection, social protection for the working population and for contingencies. So here, if you are an employee, the pension scheme provides you with social protection and for contingencies when you are in the old age or when you die. So these are some of the things, the functions of the trust scheme, the SSNIT trust scheme. Now let's look at some of the necessities or the requirements for entering into a SSNIT that makes you viable to enter into a SSNIT contract or join the SSNIT trust fund. So we have the age and the entry age and social security number. The minimum age to enter the SSNIT scheme is 15 years and the maximum age to enter is 45 years. So from age 15 you can enter the scheme, but after 45 you cannot enter the scheme to make contributions. The social security number is not transferable. So if you are given a social security number upon entry, you cannot transfer it to someone else to enjoy from those benefits, from the benefits that is due you. The mandatory contributions, as guided by Section 3 of the Act. So here we are saying that your total contribution to the scheme is 18.5, which should be made within 14 days after the end of each month. So after the end of each month when you are paid, you have 14 days to make contributions into the scheme. So an employee is supposed to make 5.5% of his basic salary and the employer makes 13% contribution towards the scheme. Qualifying of the benefits. How do you qualify to enjoy the benefits? You should have, as a person, you should have satisfied the minimum contribution period of not less than 180 months. That means you should have contributed for not less than 180 months to be able to enjoy the benefits of the contribution. You should have attained the age of 60 years or 55 years. That is when you are viable for voluntary retirement or you retire mandatorily. Or you should have also filed an application for superannuation benefits. After filing the application, it's payable in the first month of entitlement and each month afterwards. So when you file application for superannuation, it's payable in the first month of filing and each month afterwards. A person who has satisfied the minimum contribution period and is likely to contract industrial disease as defined in section 12(2) is entitled to full pension at the age of 55, be it an underground miner, or a quarry steel worker. So these are the points that qualify you to enjoy the benefits of the contribution. Let's look at the formula for computation of pensions as defined by Section 77 of the Act. A member may be paid full or reduced pension. So irrespective of your contributions, you may be paid full or reduced pension. The minimum pension payment shall be based on 50% of the average annual salary for the best 3 years of a member's working life. So based on the best 3 years of your working life, you'll be paid based on 50% of your average annual salary. Where a member works beyond the minimum contribution, that is the 180 months, the amount of pension payable shall be increased by 1.5% for every additional 12 months, worked up to a maximum of 8%. Where there are grounds to suspect that the salary has been inflated with the intent to fraud, the trust shall investigate and the right position based on the formula will be determined by the trust, which shall be paid to the member. Now let's look at the retirement phases. What are the stages that a retiree goes through during retirement? The first stage is pre-retirement phase. Here the employee is aware that he's going on retirement, so he starts saving more and prepares himself physically and psychologically. He has accepted that he's going on retirement, so he's now aware that, oh, I'm getting to 55, I want to voluntarily retire. I'm getting to 60 years, I want to retire mandatorily. So I have to retire at the age of 60. So you are aware and you start saving more physically and psychologically. The honeymoon phase is where you have lots of rest, you travel and enjoy scenery, you enjoy good quality and time with your family. So here you are really appreciating it, just like honeymoon. You have time to relax, have fun, make merry, enjoy and appreciate what you've done over the years. Enjoy what you have done. Enjoy the money that you've saved here and there with your family. Enjoy scenery, travel, and have fun. Then you have this enchantment phase. At this place, depression sets in. You start to get depressed. How long would you have fun? How long would you travel and have fun with people around you? So here you start to miss work. Depression sets in. You start to miss your colleagues. You start to miss getting dressed and going to work because you realize that you become so used to the work environment that you see, or you may realize that you're becoming redundant. So you decide to go, you start to feel depressed and start thinking frustration gets to set in as well. However, at the reorientation stage, at this place, you realistically deal with retirement. You accept that you have grown, you are grown, you are in retirement. You accept it, you appreciate it, you embrace it, and you re-strategize your life. If you think you're in the capacity to work, you have the expertise some organizations are looking for, you could reapply even to your same old organization for reappointment on some contractual basis or to other private institutions. That's if you were working in the private organization. Mostly private organizations barely reappoint their employees to work for them. So that's the reorientation phase. You really accept that you are going on retirement and now decide to plan your life again. Then we have the stability stage. At the stability stage, now you want to stabilize. You want to set new daily routine, new life routine. You start getting involved with other things that you may have wanted to do when you were younger or when you were providing for your family. Thus, you stabilize yourself and you set new daily life routines where you can appreciate and enjoy them. Then you have the terminal phase. At the terminal phase is when we say you are ill or you are disabled. So you are affected by illness. Terminal means end. At this point, what you are looking next to is death, illness, or something that makes you disabled. So at the terminal stage, it's quite when you are getting close to your creator. So these are the phases of retirement. We've come to the end of Unit 6 and Section 6. At the end of this lecture, I believe we've all learned that employee retirement could either be compulsory, voluntary, or forced, or on health grounds. We've also learned why it is important for employees to plan towards retirement. We identified two of the schemes that pensioners can benefit from, the Provident and the SNIT schemes. We lastly identified the phases of retirement and noted that not all employees would live to go through all the phases of retirement. Thank you, and I hope you enjoyed the class.